All right, welcome back to the NWIA Sports Podcast. My name is Riley Viss. Alongside me is Blake Parks. And we have a new studio. We are at Dan Molinar's house tonight. But we had a crazy round one. Kind of round one for 2A. Technically round two, but a lot of people would call it round one without the playing games. But last week's games. Let's start out with the Boynton Hall versus Sheldon game. Sheldon got there by beating Pocahontas area. This game, Boynton Hall got out to an 18-2 start at the end of the first, I think. And then the second quarter, they just kind of strolled again. Both teams scored 9 points in the second. So they had another 16-point lead at the halftime yet. And then the third quarter, Sheldon came out hot, and they did not want to go home yet. And they have, I believe, 3 star seniors on their team. So they really put in all they could do to make sure they stayed alive. And the fourth quarter came around, and Boynton Hall just really hit their free throws. In the fourth quarter, first 3 quarters, they were not hitting their free throws. They were just scoring. But fourth quarter came around, and the people at the game told me they made their free throws. And Boynton Hall ended up winning, I believe, by 16. Not much to talk about that game. We actually went to the Rock Valley Cherokee game and the West Sioux Center game because those are much better games than the Boynton Hall, Sheldon, and Sioux Central Emmitsburg games. So we attended the West Sioux side of the bracket. But that's it for Boynton Hall for us. We are going to move on to Rock Valley versus Cherokee. And we've been saying all year long, Rock Valley's young. Blake, what happened in this game?
It really showed that they were young because they just made a lot of bad decisions. There's a lot of bad turnovers, and not everybody hustled back. And yeah, really, Cherokee, they made maybe 1 or 2 threes all game, but they struggled inside. They struggled with foul trouble. Well, not really foul trouble, but with fouls. They turned the ball over, and they had a lot of fast break points, and yet they could not get the ball inside on their 1-3-1 defense. And yeah, they missed a lot of shots they probably should have made. And yeah, that's about it. They're a young team, so hopefully within the next year or 2, they'll be a team that you might want to watch out for.
So now the thing with Rock Valley, the most that really showed how young they were A, turnovers, and B, fouls. Yeah, some of them could have gone either way. Yeah, some of them maybe not fouls that were called, but you know what? They were still reaching like crazy. They were still slapping as the Cherokee post was going up. They were still fouling a lot of the times. I mean, Cherokee did keep up with them for the most part with fouling. They had for the most part pretty even fouls. I kept looking at the scoreboard towards the end of the quarters, and they were just basically right there. I mean, Rock Valley may have been 1 or 2 above them, but you know what impacted it the most is when Cherokee fouled, it was a reach-in foul. When Rock Valley fouled, it was usually a shooting foul, and when they started reaching is when Cherokee was in the bonus. So that's really what hurt them, is they were fouling when they should not have been fouling, and you don't know when a good foul is, you know, but Cherokee was kind of fouling when it's a good time to foul, I guess. I mean, they just weren't really fouling on the shots, but it was the fouling at the wrong time, so to say, if you get what that means, and the turnovers is what really killed Rock Valley.
Yeah.
The stats up.
Well, I got the stats for Rock Valley up, but looking through quarter by quarter, it really wasn't dominating by really any team. Like at the end of the first, it was 7-5. Then second quarter, Cherokee won 15-11, and then 15-9. That's probably what might have hurt them a little bit. And then the fourth quarter was everybody seemed to be scoring, but also backups were put in, and it was 27-22.
So now, well, the main thing, the fourth quarter had so much more scoring because Rock Valley had to catch up, and Cherokee had to keep scoring to pull away. So both teams were just going back and forth, and then Cherokee's post, I believe, had 4 fouls towards the end. Or was that Wilson?
He had 4 fouls.
Yeah, I believe the whole fourth. Yeah, at the end of the third, he got his 4th foul because his dad's a coach, and his dad yelled at him and said, "You need to be smarter," and pointed at his head and everything. And Yeah, so he picked up his fourth, I believe, really late in the fourth, or really late in the third, or really early in the fourth. I know it was at an early time in the second half, and he just had to go like this down the post. So it was a bunch of easy layups for Rock Valley, which they needed big time. That was smart on Rock Valley's part to get their best player in foul trouble. But some of the shot selections late in the game for Rock Valley just weren't the smartest.
Yeah, Rock Valley had 24 at the end. Cherokee had 16. And, yeah, really, they didn't miss hard. They didn't miss any free throws that much. They were 21 of 29 for Cherokee. And
it's impressive for a high school basketball team.
Yeah,
for the most part.
Kobe Grell, he had finished with 20 points, but he was 8 of 12 from the free throw line. And Ryan Hurd was 5 of 6. And then 4 of 4. So yeah, really, they didn't really miss a whole lot of shots that they needed. They missed 8 free throws.
And when most of their misses, I believe they had 5 or 6 misses in the first 3 quarters. They weren't missing in the fourth quarter because Rock Valley was following the 2 best players, which had the ball most of the game in the second half. So Rock Valley had no choice but to follow them. But yeah, it was tough.
This is what hurt Rock Valley: 7 of 31 from 3.
Yeah, first quarter, both teams were just launching. It was 7-5 at the end of the first, and I bet both teams shot at least 10 threes in the first quarter. Then both teams probably shot 10 threes in the first quarter. Both. So about 20 threes in the... I don't think anybody shot any 2s in the first freaking quarter. It was all 3s.
Yeah.
No, and I was like, what are you guys doing? Like, obviously, if one of the teams would have got hot, they would have won the game. But, like, neither team were making it. So, like, I'm surprised coaches didn't, like, call a timeout and get a little upset about that. But
yeah, Jackson Russ was 4 of 14 from 3. 4 of 15 from the field.
He hit 4 big ones, though. Big threes. But without making any 2s as a senior, he really could have done a little bit more. But, yeah, I mean, you're in the wind of the game, so it's hard to... You don't even know what your stats are. You don't care what your stats are. And if you do, then you're Russell Westbrook, right, Dan?
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's basically it for Rock Valley. For the Rock Valley Cherokee game, Rock Valley, look for them to be very tough again next year. They won't be as much of a surprise. Everybody will know that they're going to be good next year because they have a pretty young team.
Yeah.
But the only thing I'm questioning about that team is someone going to step up and be that leader? Alex Godfreyson, is he back?
He is back. He will be a senior next. Everybody comes back except for 3 people and 1 starter. Well, 3 people total. Only 1 starter will not return.
And what scores come back that actually played good minutes?
You will have Bryson Van
No, wait, that don't come back, I meant.
That don't come back?
That do not come back.
But really all of the seniors. Well,
there's
4 seniors. One of them was hurt. Jackson Russ, he will not return. He's a senior. Cody Mosier is a senior. He got a decent amount of minutes. And Eric Salazar, which he didn't really get maybe that many minutes, but when he was in, he was more not a scorer, but he still got a decent amount of minutes.
So now with Eric Salazar, he was you guys' defender.
Mm-hmm.
He was a Rock Valley. He was only playing because he had good defense. I mean, for the most part, he didn't really put up very many points. Is why I say that. Cody Mosier, I think that's a huge loss for you guys because he gets the crowd into it. He hits big threes. He's a clutch. I kind of fell in love with his game at the end of the season more than anybody else's on that team. And who hit all them threes against Boyne Hall? Was that Evan Kickricks or no? It was Bryson.
Bryson Van Grudis.
I like his game. Those 2 were my favorite ones of the team this year. I mean, Alex Godfreyson is obviously the best player on that team, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And since he's coming back next year, that's a big, huge thing for Rock Valley. But they also lose Mosier, a huge 3-point shooter. I mean, he didn't score a lot, but when he did score, it was big points. Mm-hmm. It was crucial times in the game. We also got to keep going in this one.
Yeah, everybody except for Jackson Russ of that starting lineup will come back and
really Jackson didn't do terribly too much. He'll be replaceable next year. I mean, you guys won't be as deep next year, but you guys will have more experience, and you guys will be stronger as a team because you guys will be not as deep, so more people will get playing time.
Landon Van Kickricks, I think, will take his spot, and so it'll be Bryson Van Kickricks, Sam Reverdy, Alex Gottfredson, and shoot, I could not tell you, Cole Heiser.
Yeah. Anyways, we'll move on from that one as we are already 10 minutes in. The next game was the West Sioux and Sioux Center game. This game was ultimately by far the best game of the year. We thought the Sioux Center Unity was the best game of the year, but this one tops it big time. Sioux Center had to lead the entire game until the fourth quarter when the offensive firepower of West Sioux just took over. And Baxter Walsh went up for a layup, missed it, and then Cade Lynott tips it back in with 4 seconds left. Timeout Sioux Center. Sioux Center gets the ball. Eli Himma is forced to force up a shot due to good defense, and it did not go in. I mean, it looked like it was on track from the Sioux Center side of the gym, but not from the West Sioux side of the gym. But, yeah, that's kind of how Sioux Center's season ended. They are going to reload, and they will be a good team next year. It's just they lose a lot, but they also have some studs coming back. Eli Himma is going to be their best player next year. They'll be fine next year. They'll be all right. They'll be a good 4, 5, 6 seed in the Siouxland Conference. But West Sioux moves on, and we will talk about their next matchup here in a little bit. Anything cool about the stats, or did you not pull them up real quick?
West Sioux doesn't have their stats up, but yeah, really the 3 big scorers, they were all seniors.
Yeah.
Damon Walhoff finished with 17. Marshall Schudeman had 12, and Wilson had 13. And
3 huge keys to that team that they lose. It's going to be a tough beginning of the year next year. They are going to struggle for sure first half of the season next year, trying to get their chemistry, trying to find out who the real scorers are, but they'll be ready again next season, postseason. Look for them to be ready.
And there's maybe a difference from the first game they played against Unity to this game, as they shot 50% from the free throw line. We did not see that last game against Unity. They knocked down the important free throws, but this one, really, they just couldn't hit their free throws, and they were also 7 of 23 from 3.
Right, and we will move on to Western's district. This is District 4 and 2A. Okoboji, I was not surprised one bit by this. A lot of people were. I was not. I was rooting for Okoboji. I knew Okoboji could beat them. I've been saying it for the past week or two. Okoboji tops Western in overtime at Western. That's why it's a big deal. Lucas Lorenzen and what's his other name? What's the other guy? For Boji.
Oh, I guess I have the team stats right. Helmers. Jameson Helmers. By far the 2 best players on that team. They are outstanding. They ended up with 70 points, right? Total? The 54.
The team.
Team now is 66 to 62.
Yep, 66 to 62. And those 2 combined for 54 freaking points. 54! So it looks like you got to stop those 2 in order to beat them. But if you cannot stop them, you will not beat them. Mm-hmm. But they will go up against Westline. Speaking of Westline topped Spirit Lake. And a buzzer beater finish. Early in the second half, Myers got hurt. I believe Westline's star player got hurt. I think it's Myers. I don't know which one it actually was, but I know Myers is the star player. But one of their best players got hurt, shooting in triple coverage and won. And I think he came down and rolled his ankle, and he was out the rest of the game. But they still ended up winning, and they got a buzzer beater finish, is what I heard. So Westline advances, and I'm a little surprised with that because Spirit Lake has so much talent. But they are out.
But Spirit Lake's also had an up and down kind of year, so you never know if they're going to win some games, you never know if they're going to lose games, but this was just one of the games where Westline ended up taking it to them.
So we will jump straight into our 2A rankings. We did not... Okay, so we did polls on Facebook and Instagram, and we asked you guys if you guys want us to do our top 15 rankings yet. with others receiving votes, or just rank who's available in the tournament yet, who's remaining in the tournament. So who's remaining in the tournament won. The Facebook one, the Instagram one was up like 7-2, and then it expired before I could check it again. So I'm guessing it won, unless a lot of people decided to vote no. But the Facebook one, I looked at, it was 11-8, and all the people that have voted no, I only knew 2 people. The rest, I guarantee, don't watch the podcast. Maybe they do, but I highly doubt it, as they were barely even from the area. I think only 2 of them were from the area. And, like, I didn't know the other ones. They were, like, from college way away from here, but whatever. We'll just say the top 5, and then we'll kind of talk about each district and where the teams are ranked. So top 5, number 1 is North Lynn we're not doing records because a couple teams are not accurate. 2, we actually bumped up Trainer over Van Meter. They're basically tied for 2nd and 3rd, but, like, Trainer has a better road to state, and we just think, I just think they're a better team, but they're basically the same. But in the future, I think Trainer will go further than Van Meter. But number 3 is Van Meter. Number 4, Comanche. Where the heck are they?
Right here. Comanche. Then we got West Sioux at number 5. Burton Hall number 6.
Yep. We'll just cut it off there, and then we'll get into the districts. District 1. We'll go District 1. It is number 5 West Sioux versus number 18 Cherokee. Once again, these are the top 32 rankings of the teams available, not the top 15 of the state.
Of the teams remaining.
Just the teams remaining in the tournament is what these rankings are. So don't actually take them to heart. It's just what they are out of the top 32 remaining teams. Can't stress that enough, because I know a lot of people will get confused, even though we said it like 5 times. It's still confusing. But West Sioux, 5 versus 18. I mean, I'm taking the obvious here. West Sioux, I think the toughest team in the district, went out last night, or the other night in Sioux Center. But, I mean, that one's...
I guess this also proves why West Sioux is number 5, is that they never backed down from a fight. They were down, what was it, 10 with less than 2 minutes left. And they ended up coming back. They went on a 15-4 run to win the game. That's
the only reason they're number 5 yet. I mean, the top 5 team, you can do that. Mm-hmm. If you're an overrated top 10 team, you're going to lose that game.
Yeah.
But these guys are legit. They may be only 5 deep with talent, but they play 7. But they may be only 5 good players on that team. But that don't matter. They got 5 good players, that means. District 2, we have South Central Calhoun at 23rd. They fell down in the rankings a little bit just because... I mean, there's really nothing too special about them, but there's nothing not special about them. And I also kind of forgot about them in the rankings. But they will be facing Southeast Valley, who is ranked 20th. Southeast Valley is the favorite for this game. If you talk to a lot of people around the state, we don't know really either team. So, like, we're just kind of guessing with those two. For the most part, we don't know too much about them. And then District 3, we have number 6 Boyden Hall versus number 24, Sioux Central. Sioux Central is really not that tough this year. They beat Emmetsburg and North Union. North Union's awful, and Emmetsburg's really not that good. So they got here off of an easy path, so to say, and they just proved that they're the better team in the bottom half of that bracket. District 4, we have an upset. It is Okoboji in here. They are ranked number 19 on the top side of the bracket. You won't see that very often. Versus number 21, West Lyon. This is probably the most even matchup remaining in district play, but that's going to be a fun game to go to as well. Yeah. We'll jump into District 5 is Osage, ranked at number 12, versus Forest City, who is ranked 22nd. So Osage is obviously the favorite there, but Forest City has a lot of people talking about them, how they could be a sleeper team. And I'll have you do 6 through 10.
Alrighty, so number 6, or District 6, I should say, we have North Lynn at number 1 versus Dyke New Hartford, who comes in at number 10.
Top 10 matchup. I don't think we have any more top 10 matchups in district finals, but that should be a good matchup. But North Lynn's much better than them, and
yeah,
I'm going to take North Lynn by 15 or 20. Guarantee it.
And if not, at least by 10.
For sure, yep.
And then we go to numbers.
There's a timer in here, too, so I can actually see the timer.
So, District 7, we have Beckman Catholic coming in with the number 8 spot versus, what was that, 7? Crestwood, who comes in at 29. Beckman should win that game, but you never know. All right, number 8, we got Monticello coming in ranked number 9 versus Cascade Western Dubuque, comes in at 27. And number 9, District 9, we have Comanche coming in with the number 4 spot, as they will play Williamsburg, who comes in 25. And then 10th, we have West Branch coming in with the number 11 spot versus West Burlington with the number 28 spot. You can finish the rest.
And now it gets kind of interesting. There's 2 teams in here that absolutely should not be in here, but we will get to them. District 11, we have Albia ranked 13th versus Eddyville ranked 32nd. I think Eddyville is the worst team remaining. They're 9-13. But hey, they won. Mm-hmm. Sleepers. Still alive, baby. District 12, we have undefeated Van Meter, who has the best resume remaining, but we don't know how good the teams they are playing. They may be top 30, but we don't know how good they really are. They're number 3rd, and they will play Woodward Granger.
That's going to be a
number 7.
It's going to be a fantastic game right there.
That is obviously the best matchup. I forgot about this matchup, but that is the best matchup in district finals.
That's
it's unfortunate.
Another top 10 too.
Yep. And then they will play the winner of District 11 of Albia and Eddyville. So, Van Meter or Woodward Granger will be going to state.
Should be going.
I mean, Albia is going to give them a little run for it, but they should end up at state.
Yeah.
And they will. District 13, Des Moines Christian is 14th. Ugh. And Pella Christian is 15th. 14-15 matchup. So I guess this is another good matchup. And I actually really like this matchup. That is going to be a fun game. And they are going to state, those 2 teams are, because in District 14 we have a 10-13 Hudson. We have them ranked 31st, the second to worst team available.
Upset.
Right, yeah. They took down Appleton Parkersburg, who is really good this year.
Overrated. Not anymore.
They'll be facing Grandpa's team, South Hamilton. We won't bring up last year.
I've had experience with them.
They are ranked 26th, so that district final is probably the worst district final remaining. But we have District 15, Carroll Kemper, ranked 30th. They're 8-14. 2-10 against top 30 teams, though, so they actually have a good reason to lose 14 games. Well, 10 of the 14 games, I guess. But they will be facing Panorama, my favorite not very good team. They are ranked 16th. They are my favorite not very good team because they play so many good teams, but they lose to the really good teams, but they beat the mediocre teams. So, like, they're actually a good team. They just can't beat the really good teams.
But I also think that Panorama, I believe they have I want to say they have a good chance of going to state, but of course they got to play Trainer in that sub-state, which I believe Panorama, I want to say they'll give them a good run for their money because, yeah, they lose to some of the good teams, but they also beat some of the good teams. So they're one of those teams that'll either pick you apart or they'll give you a heck of a game, but that, yeah, you might end up wanting to watch.
Right. And then the final district, District 16, it is Trainer. We have them at number 2 versus Tri-Center, number 17. Tri-Center is another sleeping team. Mm-hmm. They're good. They could take down Trainer. If they take down Trainer, we have Panorama versus Tri-City. 2 sleeping teams, 16th and 17th. And I'd like to see them battle to go to state. And they better get the 8 seed at state because they obviously are not better than the other teams that should make it to state. But those are our rankings. We will have them more clear for next round as we will just have 16 teams left to seed. So next time we seed the 2A, it'll be our Wednesday podcast or our Tuesday night podcast. And we will have 16 teams remaining for 2A, and we will have 32 for 1A, and we will release our top 32 for 1A on Wednesday. So now we talk about the next round, I guess. West Sioux's got Cherokee in what's going to be a good matchup, but really I think West Sioux's firepower comes out in the end of the game and takes them by 10. They won't struggle as much as they did against Sioux Center.
Let's hope not.
Right, because Sioux Center's got more shooters, but they got Cherokee and Sioux Center both have a really good post. But the thing that makes Sioux Center better than Cherokee is Sioux Center's got shooters. Cherokee actually beat Sioux Center by, I think, 24 earlier in the year.
They did. But that might have been also without Wilson when he was hurt.
Right. And then we have Boyden Hall versus Sioux Central. Boyden Hall is the clear favorite in this one. Boyden Hall just has to come out and play. If they play awful, the only way Boyden Hall does not go to state now is if they play really bad for at least 3 quarters. Otherwise, they're fine. Really. I mean, Okoboji, they beat Okoboji twice this year. They know how to beat Okoboji. They match up well against Okoboji. And then West Lyon, they're taller than I think every single player in West Lyon, and more. The starting 5 for Boyden Hall is better than the starting 5 for West Lyon. I think the top 5 players would go to Boyden Hall in that matchup. I really don't think West Lyon has a better player than. I mean, Myers. One player might be better than Heitrader just because Heitrader is a football player, not a basketball player. But that's about it. Otherwise, I think Boyden Hall is the best starting 5 in that sub-state. But yeah, Boyden Hall should go to state unless they really do play bad. But I don't foresee that. And then we have 2 Siouxland teams here. Bogie versus West Lyon. I'm going to take Bogie in this game. What about you?
I'm not sure because I think they ended up splitting the season. But, yeah, I guess you never know what's going to happen. But I do think Helmers and Lorenzen will take this game over like they did against Western. So I might end up just taking I'll take Okoboji in this one.
Right, I think they just have the better talent in this one too, and they're actually a basketball team. I think West Lyon's more of a football team than basketball, but they still got a talented basketball team. I didn't pay attention in high school, so I don't know how to speak. But anyways, we will move on to 1A, as we haven't talked about 1A really at all in our podcast for postseason. So let's start off with 1A District 1.
All right, so these games will be played, on Tuesday, and it'll be played at South O'Brien, as we have South O'Brien versus Kingsley Pearson. So South O'Brien should win that game. And then we have George versus HMS, which we didn't think HMS would be in this game, as we thought Hinton would have. But HMS came out, made their shots, won by 20.
Hinton was up by 20 at the half already, so I really think Hinton was cold. Did I say Hinton was up at the half? HMS was up 20 at the half, so HMS really came out hot in that first half and didn't give up that lead, but also didn't pull away. So Hinton was trying to come back, but.
So yeah, we should see in that district finals South O'Brien, and I think we both take George.
Should be South O'Brien, George, and I really don't think South O'Brien will have any problems with George. I think South O'Brien is a clear favorite in District 1 now. Even with Hinton and, South O'Brien's a clear favorite in that one by far. Against any team, if any team was available, they would beat every single team easily. We'll move on to District 2.
We'll go to District 2 real quick, as we have Bishop Garrigan faces St. Edmund Fort Dodge.
Good game.
That'll be a good game. Bishop Garrigan, we think, should win that one, and they will play the winner of Newell Fonda versus Harris Lake Park.
Good game.
Which should be another good
4 really good teams remaining in District 2, and it sucks. It really does suck. But the remaining, with Harris Lake Park, we actually have Bubba Sohn, who is on our AAU basketball team, I believe for the entire summer. Not quite sure on that one, but for sure for the March 14th tournament right after state basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And we also have a new Alfonda player, Trey Jungers. I totally forgot about him. But we have 2 players in this district, maybe 3, with Angelo Winkle deciding if he wants to join us for that tournament only, as he already has an AAU basketball team because he's one of the best for the juniors this year. But I'm going to take Bishop Garrigan in a battle against St. Edmund Fort Dodge. And then, sorry, Trey. But I'm going to take Bubba Sohn and Isaac Einen to the district finals. I don't think it might not happen, but this game, it's whatever team's going to come to play. If Harris Lake Park comes to play, they can win this. But obviously, New Alfonda is probably the favorite in this one. I think they're the favorite by 11. But I really think, don't count out Harris Lake Park. They're a very small school, one of the smallest in the state of Iowa, actually. So they don't get much talent coming through there, but they have 2 outstanding players and then a really good shooter. So, like, that could carry them past New Alfonda. I just don't think it will, though. But you never know.
Yeah, and as for me, I'll take Bishop Garrigan, and I think they'll battle it out with New Alfonda, as what I've heard from Riley is that they're, quicker or more athletic?
Okay, so in this district finals, Bishop Garrigan has more height and skill, but New Alfonda is faster and more athletic. So, yeah.
So I think that's what'll get New Alfonda past Harris Lake Park is their athletic ability,
right? And they
their
press.
speed and
they're pressing most of the game, is what Trey said. So he said the press is what's going to hurt Bishop Garrigan and Harris Lake Park. And I really think it'll kill Harris Lake Park, actually, because they aren't used to very much press from the War Eagle.
Yeah.
And they don't have, besides for Bubba Sohn taking up the court and Isaac, there's nobody else to take up the court. So when those 2 get tired, it's going to be turnover city. So hopefully they can get back. Hopefully it'll be a good game. But if that press is really going to come out there strong, then it's going to probably end Harris Lake Park's season.
Yep. And we'll move on to District 15, as we have a team we cover in District 16. But we have Boyer Valley Dunlap versus Woodbine for the first game, and then St. Albert Council Bluffs versus IKM Manning.
St. Albert's Council Bluffs is going to the sub-state.
Yeah.
I mean, I guarantee it myself.
I mean, they'll battle it out with most likely Boyer Valley, as they are the number 1 team in this district somehow. But yeah, I don't think Boyer Valley has. I don't know. I don't want to say anything that's not true, so I'm just not going to say anything about it. I just think St. Albert Council Bluffs is the better team in this one.
They have the 2 seed, right?
They are the 2 seed.
St. Albert Council Bluffs, I believe, is 9-15. That's the only reason of the 2 seed, and that's.
But they
pathetic.
also play who?
I believe they play mostly 3A teams.
Exactly.
Don't
so if
quote me on that though,
but if they do play mostly 3A teams, then
they're a 1A school.
They're 1A school playing 3A teams. They're going to be a tough team to beat.
They are actually. They're a top 10 team. We don't have them in our rankings, which is stupid, but it's because they're 9-15. We've never really seen them at the top. Never been able to talk about them. Never heard noise about them because they aren't beating nobody. Really, I mean, they're 9-15. So, yeah, but they have a very tough schedule, and a lot of people are actually saying that they might beat Remsen. A lot of people are saying that. More than people are saying that Remsen's going to win. So,
I think that'll be a good sub-state when they come.
It'll be a tough sub-state.
And speaking of Remsen, we will move on to District 16, where Remsen St. Mary's will take on River Valley, and Siouxland Christian will take on Lawton Bronson.
Remsen's going to sub-state easily. I mean,
they should go easily, but
yeah,
you never know.
They have to play terrible.
Yeah.
To not make sub-state. They do have their freshmen out, which I don't think it'll affect. They literally returned every single player from last year's third place tournament team. Everybody. Mm-hmm. Did you hear me? I said everybody. You don't see that very often. But the thing about it is they didn't get better. which you do see that a lot. I mean, you don't get a lot better. It's just not noticeable. But they beat West Sioux late in the season. No excuses for West Sioux. They did have one player out, but still,
They also had their top 3 people in.
I think they had the
Because
top
they
4.
had
The only person they didn't have was Baxter.
Yeah, so they had the top 4
And
players.
Baxter was the 5th best player in that team by far.
Yeah, and what it really hurt him was probably rebounding, because Baxter, that's what he's really good at, is rebounding.
Which shouldn't have hurt them. I don't even think it was that.
It shouldn't have, but you never know, I guess.
Remsen was really small. I think Remsen was shooting well. They shot well. Spencer played a really good game, and they just outplayed all around. I watched that game on my phone, and they outplayed West Sioux. Just 100% outplayed them. They were the better team in that game.
Yeah, so they should win the first one against River Valley.
I'll take them by 30 in that game again. They are playing very well, and Spencer actually told me against, what is it, Woodbury Central? He said he put up 14 in the first half, and then he stopped shooting the entire second half. No, he put up 17 in the first half, and then he just stopped playing. They stopped trying, and they won by 50, right? 31. They didn't even try in the second half, and they still won by 31. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, don't even look at that score. That says nothing, because he said he stopped shooting threes and tried finding different ways to score, which was impressive. That's what you got to do against bad teams. When you know you're going to win and you're already up by a lot, just try to find a different way to score. Make it fun.
And then the only, I guess you could call it interesting game in this district would probably be Siouxland Christian versus Lawton Bronson, as they're probably both neck and neck.
They're about the same level.
Yeah.
Siouxland Christian looks better because they have a better record, but don't be surprised if Lawton wins this one. Did Lawton play West Sioux, or did Remsen play Lawton?
West Sioux played Lawton.
Yeah, and they got killed. So,
but that's also West Sioux.
Right, but Remsen just beat West Sioux the game before that.
Yeah.
And then West Sioux beat Lawton Bronson by, I think, 39? 29?
Something like that.
They killed them. So, I'm taking Remsen by 20 the rest of the way out until sub-state. At least 50.
Yeah. So, yeah, it should be Remsen versus whoever wins that one. I'm not even sure who I want to pick anymore.
Right.
I want to say I picked Siouxland, but I don't know.
They're, for the most part, very overrated around the state because of their record. They look good, but they aren't actually that good, which is unfortunate. But we'll see. We'll see if they can prove us wrong. You know, I mean, that's all we can do is just wait and watch.
Yeah,
you got to play every game. This is why we play.
We're not the NBA.
Yes, we are. But yeah. What's your local team that you think is going to be upset first between West Sioux, Boynton Hall? What team do you think would go home first between West Sioux, Boynton Hall, South O'Brien, and Remsen? What team would go home before sub-state?
Before sub-state. I honestly don't know. South O'Brien, I don't think they'll have any problems. Remsen shouldn't have any problems. Boynton Hall, I hope doesn't have any problems. I think you could say West Sioux. West Sioux, maybe, just because they struggled with the height of Wilson on the Sioux Center team, as he was 6'8", 6'7".
But the only thing that hurt them against Sioux Center was the shooting.
Yeah.
And yeah, Cherokee doesn't have
But I guess.
But if you had to choose a team, it'd be West Sioux.
Yeah.
But they're by far the clear favorite. I think they win by 15 to 20.
Yeah.
I think all of our Northwest Iowa teams win by 15 to 20, except for Okoboji and West Lyon, because they play each other. But yeah, otherwise that's that.
You didn't ask me about that one. Those are local teams.
I know, but there's no upset there because they're even. Do you think we see a non-500 team at state this year for 2A?
I think there might be a good chance of, for 2A.
Hudson's got to beat Des Moines Christian or Woodward Granger and Pella Christian to go to state.
Make it.
Carroll Kemper has to beat Trainer, Panorama, and Tri-Center. I don't see that happening. And your last team is Eddyville has to beat Albia, Van Meter, and Woodward Granger.
I don't think they'll make it either. I don't think there will be a under 500 team for 2A.
I don't. There shouldn't.
There shouldn't, but I guess you never know.
Right.
But for 1A,
St. Edmund Fort Dodge.
no, I wasn't thinking about that one. I was thinking about St. Albert Council Bluffs.
Oh yeah.
I think they might be a team that might
That's
go
what
to state. I mean, they'll have to play Remsen. We think they'll play Remsen for the sub-state game, and I think that would be a really good one.
Right.
Other than that, I don't know if there's any other under 500 teams in it. I mean, there probably is, but I just don't know about it.
Do you think West U goes to state? How many Northwest Iowa teams are we going to get to go to state?
Well, there's going to be one for sure.
I think West U goes. I think Boynton Hall goes. And unfortunately, that knocks off two more Northwest Iowa teams, which is Bogie and West Lyon. So those are two out of the 2A district. 1A, South Bryan probably won't go.
Unless they play very well.
I don't foresee them making it because they will not match up well against Bishop Garrigan as the two tall. That actually be a really good matchup, but I would take Bishop over that over them. I think Remsen might go, but I can also see them not going.
Yeah.
And then maybe MOC. Sioux City teams we don't really count because we don't pay attention to 4A, but
They're 3A.
no.
Oh, so some Sioux City teams are 4A, yeah.
All of them are except
No,
for
Bishop, yeah, they're 3A.
Yep, but for the most part, that's it. We will have another podcast either Tuesday night or Wednesday. I think we're gonna put Tuesday night. I think we're gonna post on Spotify just the game recaps, and then I think just we're gonna have to post both. I think we're gonna do just game recaps on Spotify. So if you want to watch the game recaps, we're just doing that on Spotify. And then we're just doing what we're doing today, our weekly podcast, which is turning into all the time now, instead of weekly, will be only on YouTube, but we will not cover the games of the next round. That'll only be on Spotify, but what we will cover on YouTube will be the rankings for 1A, 2A. The next round preview will only be on Spotify. So really only on YouTube is going to be our rankings, and seems to be about it. So we're going to keep our YouTube video a little bit shorter, and we're going to kind of separate them to let you guys go and watch whatever you want instead of watching a 40-minute video, and it'll take way faster for us to upload. So once again, game recaps and game predictions for the next round will only be on Spotify and iTunes, everything. It'll be on there, and then rankings will be on here on YouTube. So you can go watch them whatever you want. You can watch them both. If you do not like this idea, let us know. If you like these longer videos, 30 to 45 minute videos, let us know. It does take us forever to upload, but we're fine with it. We'll do it if you
We'll give you what you want.
Right. But yeah. Otherwise, I think both videos on Wednesday are going to be 10 to 15 minutes, really. We'll get more into depth with the recaps of games since we have more time then.
Yeah.
So we'll get more into depth on the game recaps and the predictions. So I'm done talking. This is the N1 Sports Podcast, your best podcast in Northwest Iowa that covers the War Eagle, Lakes, and Siouxland, and some surrounding teams that are good around the area. But that'll be it. We'll be at state covering every single round. We said this last year. We did not do it last year. That will only be on Spotify.
Yeah.
Because YouTube, I'm not going to sit here and upload for 3 hours after every round.
Mm-hmm.
Not happening. I'm not going to kill my phone battery.
Yeah.
So, state will only be on Spotify as well. But yeah, that's it for us. Anything else?
if you see us at state, come say hi.
Come say hi.
We're not that scary.
We actually have a surprise. If you come and say hi to us, we'll give you a surprise about a month later.
We'll try and get it as soon as we can.
Right.
But
shipping might take a little bit longer. Yeah. Anyways, we don't want to give away too much. That was it for the N1 Sports. That was it for the N1 Sports Podcast. You guys have a great day, great night. We will see you guys Wednesday.